Welcome back to Archaeology After Dark, everyone. I hope you had a happy new year. It is, of course, 2026. So, this is a brand new episode, brand new year. I even made a new logo to start off this year with, which you'll get to see later on. To start off the new year, my guest is Emily Nelson. Emily, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you, Daniel.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, this is one of my least favorite questions when I do interviews and stuff. Not really sure where to start. I guess I guess I could start at the beginning. My love for archaeology started when I think a lot of children's do. I was about 7, and I think there was a special on PBS or something, and it was, of course, on Egypt because in the 90s, that's all you got on TV was Egypt. And I mean, that was it. And then I think at some point after my obsession started, when I was probably maybe 12, I think some well-meaning family member told me, well, what's the point? Like everything's already been found. Like you'll be poor and it'll be awful. And don't you want to do something else? So I kind of just did something else for a while. And I got my bachelor's degree in history with a focus on medieval Iberia. And then during COVID, I decided, you know what, I think I can get my master's degree because I talked myself out of that as well. And then so in 2021, I packed up and moved my daughter and I to Scotland. And I got my master's in archaeology from the University of Edinburgh. And I have been either in England or in Scotland ever since. And then it's much harder to break into archaeology here than you would think, because there's so much old stuff. But it was pretty hard. And I think there was about 2 years where I just kind of sat wondering what I was going to do now. Even though I had a degree, nobody wanted to hire me because I was on a visa. And so, um, I was like, what can I do? I don't want to be out of archaeology. So I started the magazine, and it just kind of started as ideas. And then it's been over a year now. So, and we get more and more interest all the time, which amazes me. And I'm always shocked. I don't know why, but yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, so the publication that Emily mentioned is Adventurous Archaeology, right? And you
Yes.
can follow it on Instagram. Can you actually subscribe to it like you could like a regular magazine, or do you have to go through like
So yes, we haven't printed any in I think 3 issues just because there wasn't a lot of call for it, which of course makes me personally a little sad because I love having physical copies of things. Um, we can always print physical issues, but right now it's mostly a digital issue. We've moved over to Patreon just because it's an easier platform. People are already on there looking for other stuff. People know it. So there's different levels, obviously. If you're familiar with Patreon, there's different levels of subscribing, but there's a couple of free issues on there that are always free. The first issue, and then we had a special Dia de los Muertos issue in October. That is also free. But yeah, we post a lot of stuff on our Instagram too. So, I mean, you can get little tidbits and stuff there if you're curious. But it is all women, just because I felt like I felt like I didn't see enough people like me, in archaeology. Um, so
yeah, so for those of you who do follow the program, some of my previous guests have been on it. Danielle A. Rolla was on it not too long ago. Brittany Brown has been on it. It's a really great publication. So if you're looking for something new to read or trying to get inspired, it's a shameless self-promotion I'm doing here for numerous things. This program, the magazine, I am all about public service. It's not something they train us for in archaeology is actually doing public service.
not really. It gets a little bit awkward sometimes. Just because, when you try to do that stuff, you're like, oh, I've had my head down in a lab, or I've just been in the dirt or the mud, or in the archives. Like there's not a lot of front-facing training, no. So
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to like an actual archaeology conference, and it had been like finals the week before that. And somebody comes up to me and they're like, "So you must be Daniel." I was like, "No, that's my name." I'm like, no crap. I'm amazed. But yeah, this is especially since COVID, I've noticed a shift, and I bring this up a lot that people are putting more into the public facing side of archaeology, if nothing else, just to connect to their fellow human beings after being trapped inside for 6 months. We've
yeah,
learned our lesson and we don't want to go back to that.
I have a tendency when I talk about like authors for the magazine or people that I've met, quote unquote, through Instagram, I just call them my friends. Uh, even though, I mean, it depends on what your definition of friends is. It's easier for me, but then when I get to meet my friends in real life, it's a little weird because you feel like you know this person and then you see them in real life and it's so awkward. It's kind of like a first date, if you will.
Yeah.
So.
But that's something else is it really helps you to get to know someone, like seeing how they work through social media, like not only like what are they working on, but how they approach it too. Like what is their take on this tiny little piece of something that they found in a hole in the foothills of Germany. I'm assuming there are foothills in.
I think so.
I assume that my degrees are in public history and history, not geography. So, any of my German viewers, if you don't have foothills, I apologize for assuming that you did.
No, I really like how archaeology's become more public, just because, it's archaeology's everywhere. Um, and so not everyone can go everywhere. And the fact that you can just go online and find something and also see other people who are so excited about this tiny pottery sherd when you thought you were the only one, the only nerd who got excited about pottery or who got excited about ancient fabric weaving techniques or something is also really cool.
Yeah. And that's something that I have, started to think more and more about as I do this program is how different archaeology is like across the board. Like there's a site here, it's called Cahokia, and they were still using, bone tools and everything as compared to a site in Germany. And they were already using like metal tips and spear points. And the only difference is separated by an ocean.
Yeah. Um, I often think it's really interesting, not to get into like too much academic stuff, but when I was doing my master's, we talked a lot about how change depended on necessity, and a lot of places in the Americas didn't need to change to, you know, Iron Age, Bronze Age. They were fine with their Stone Age tools that they had, which is amazing because I spent time in Belize on a dig down there near the Rio Bravo in 2023. And it's hard to see through the jungle now, but just it was a Mayan kind of settlement area, and just to see like how much bigger the Mayan civilization was than we thought with only Stone Age technology is pretty cool. So
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people look at it as very simplistic because they have a varying definition of what technology is or technological superiority. But, for the time, that was superior technology. And it rarely dawns on people that that's the case.
I think a lot of that has to do with education, which is another reason I think it's so cool to see how many followers different archaeologists get on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. I haven't really branched into TikTok yet because the idea of making TikTok videos terrifies me. I have no idea where to start. So
I have made
it's,
one to promo an episode, and I wasn't actually sure what to say on it. It's the only one I've made.
I think I
But
tried to follow the fad in 2020 and I think I made like 3 videos and then I was like, I feel so weird doing this. I feel so out of place and awkward. Like I just can't. So
well, that's the thing, and I don't want to, have the social media platforms coming after me when I say this, but educational material is not like their cornerstone of their business. Like they don't count on people making educational material to keep their platforms going.
yeah. It's so cool though, because I've had authors who do have big presences on TikTok, um, who have kind of ventured into that. And while I still don't think it's exactly cornered the market on archaeology and TikTok, they have made like quite a name for themselves, like social media wise, doing that kind of stuff on TikTok, which is kind of cool. Um, yeah, because it is mostly entertainment, but I'm always entertained by archaeology. So
Yeah, it doesn't take very much for me to get interested in what somebody's doing. I mean, assuming they're not, making videos of themselves like blowing up a historic site or actively like looting something. I'm like, why would you make evidence of you committing a felony?
I do have to be careful though, because I can fall down that loop where I just enrage myself by watching these like pseudo history videos or pseudo archaeology videos. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I know that people are watching them and believing what they're saying. And so I'm like, oh no, I have to get off. I have to get off of here. I can't do this.
Yeah, you see this mound behind me? It's in like the video. The mound is behind them. They're like, so I have it on good authority, meaning like 10th or 12th hand sources that there is the bone of a giant inside this thing, and that is how it
Yeah.
stayed upright. And I'm like,
Yeah.
the education system has just let you down so hard, my God. Who hurt
I think
you?
I saw one about this conspiracy about this object at the museum in Cairo about how could they have possibly cut this stone so perfectly? It must have been like aliens or some kind of like crazy technology that has just disappeared from the face of the earth until now. And I'm like, I I don't even know where to start with this.
I remember seeing one. It was probably in the past decade or so. They found a sarcophagus somewhere and it had like fluid leaking out of it because it had been submerged somewhere. But people in the
Oh, the
comments,
big black one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, people
Yeah.
were like in the comments going like, so how much does it cost me to get some of that fluid sent to me so I can drink it? And they were like sending their Venmo links with it. I'm like, oh my God, why would you do that? Like there are movies about why you don't do this. But I'm like, oh my God, there's no way that that's actually healthy for you. One and two, watch a movie. You know how badly this turns out for people.
Right? I mean, it either turns into dysentery or it turns into some horrible
Monster.
zombie apocalypse kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just watch like the 90s Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser in it. That's why all right, that's also a cautionary tale about why you shouldn't read books, but also big fan of reading books.
I love that movie, even though there are so many inaccuracies in it. It's still such a good movie.
Yeah, we are.
Um,
So, for those of you who haven't had the joys of watching a historic based movie with a historian or an archaeologist, you are in for a treat when you actually do.
we don't really watch them at my house because people get mad at me because I'm either making noises in the corner or I'm like, okay, now listen, guys. This is not, you have to understand. And they're like, it's just a movie. We know it's just a movie. I'm like, do you though? Do you know it's just a movie? So
So I did this unconsciously, apparently, but one time I was watching Gladiator with some friends, and I kept making like a moaning sound every time I saw something that wasn't historically accurate, and I would go like, mm, and somebody was like, "Why do you keep doing that?"
I think that's why, yeah, I think that's why my family doesn't like watching those movies with me. So I think that was actually one of the three TikTok videos I did was like a review on the scene in The Mummy where she tells them how they make the mummies. And I was like, she like, I'm like, how much does it really cost to hire a consultant to tell you that's not accurate? Like, it's this huge, like, animated speech she gives. And I'm like, you could have, like, it's just the small things, you know? Like, all the archaeologists on Instagram right now who have opinions on the new Odyssey movie that's not out yet. Um, which provided that's not exactly my time period of expertise, but I can see like a few things just from the trailers that I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah,
why? I
the
get it.
the armor seems to be the biggest thing people are
Yeah,
latching onto. Like
yeah,
there's one guy with a giant black helmet with a thing on it, and people are
yeah,
photoshopping like Darth Vader into that guy and people like that. I'm like, okay, Darth Vader actually probably is closer to accurate than that guy's armor.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a tough one because you have to, I mean, it's a blockbuster movie, you know, you need it to make money. What do people associate with that kind of thing? The big helmets, right? So if you start changing it up, they're going to be like, well, what's that? Like, that's not the kind of helmets they're supposed to have. Like, that doesn't look like a warrior that just
Like how dare you put realism into my movie? How dare you? What gives you the audacity?
this I know. It just seems so simple that they could like change it, you know, that they could just make it so, but you also have to take some artistic license, I guess. I mean, I'm not like a director or anything, but yeah. Although movies, this is probably not a popular opinion, but that movie that they put out, Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix with Graham Hancock, the most should I say educated journalist, not archaeologist. Yeah, I never actually watched it, like for fear of dying from a heart attack of rage. But several people I know have watched it, and they're like, "Yeah, you probably probably shouldn't watch it." Not gonna watch it. But movies like that are dangerous. Graham Hancock annoys me. So
Yeah, I've done an episode and had conversations with people about stuff like that, and I'm like, so this rock that I just picked up off the ground is more historically accurate than what he's depicting, and it's just like a rock I just picked up off the ground while standing there talking.
yeah, I just can't with those. Uh, which is, I mean, Netflix. I I don't know. Like there's so many good documentaries on Netflix. Like any of the National Geographic ones are so good. I think I binge watched most of them um during 2020 and 2021. And then there's that new one out about finding Cleopatra, which I'm not sure if it's on Netflix yet or if it's coming to Netflix or whatever. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm very excited about it. Um and I don't know if I can say this. I might be having someone who is vaguely related to the production of that documentary in one of our next issues. So, um, obviously it's a woman. But if anyone knows how I can get a hold of Kathleen Martinez to interview her, that would be great. So,
Yeah,
I would
so
love
for
that.
those of you who are looking for something new to watch, I watched Ken Burns's American Revolution over the Christmas holiday. It was very informative. It did take me like a week to get through the entire series, but it was excellent. So PBS, Ken Burns, you're welcome for the, again, unpaid promotion.
Maybe it'll be paid after now. Yeah. I've been catching up on my fantasy TV, so I haven't seen that many documentaries lately. I'm still making my way through the last 5 episodes of the final season of Stranger Things. So it's I don't like finishing things because it makes me sad that they're over. I have a really bad habit of when I'm reading a book to take forever to read like the last chapter because I know as soon as I'm done reading it, it's over. So
Yeah, I always have that void issue. Like when I finish something like a book or a show, I'm like, okay, I can set it aside. It's no longer on my continue to watch list. What do I do now?
yeah, yeah.
Like since I finished grad school, like I can actually read for pleasure again, which is very off-putting. Like I can just finish a book and set it aside and not have to write a book review, not have to have feelings on it. I can put it over here on the bookshelf and smile to myself because I actually read something because I wanted to.
I know. I just finished a book. I also have a pile of books that I never got through because of grad school, and now it's embarrassingly long after. Uh, but I just read, it's an older book, one of the first one in the Amelia Peabody Murder Mysteries by Elizabeth Peters. Crocodile on the Sandbank or something, I think is what it's called. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I could ever venture into like archaeological fiction books because I get a little bit hung up on the details. But Peters actually had a PhD in Egyptology, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that before I started reading it, and then I was like, "Wow, this is very detailed." So I looked her up, and yeah, she actually had a PhD in Egyptology, which is unique for fantasy authors, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like when people think about archaeology and fantasy, they think about like one of those books they buy at the airport when they're waiting on their flight to get there. And it's like a shirtless man holding a shovel and some woman in his arm, like digging for love or some hot nonsense like that. Like, yes, that is definitely a depiction of what archaeologists actually look like.
No, this one was this so this one's set, I think it's like it's set in the late 1800s, I think. But it's I mean, to sell the book, it's got some, romance, but not like anything steamy because it's the late 1800s. It's very like period accurate. And it's a very good book to read to figure out how archaeology actually is, because even though it was, 100 plus years ago, the same like vibes apply to a dig. I haven't dug in the desert, but I have dug in the jungle. And, besides like a total mapping station and GPS, stuff like that, the tools are pretty similar. The methods are pretty similar. It hasn't changed a lot besides processing technology, which I think is pretty cool. So,
I was just thinking about archaeology in the 1800s, how they had this fun excavation method of dynamite, and that was so great for historic preservation, preserving everything.
so the funny thing is they talk about that in the book because they have such a huge problem with people that are doing it. And France was running the Egyptian Antiquities Department at the time. And she also mentions how Petrie was starting to catalog things. Um, During that time, he was like an up and comer, which was pretty cool. But yeah, they talk about and like discourage like dynamite using, and they talk about their hands bleeding from like digging in the sand, and it's pretty good while still being entertaining, which I found very surprising. I don't know how long she worked on it, but it's it was surprising, yeah. So.
So we're about to the end of the episode. Emily, for anyone who wants to get involved in archaeology, like students or people who see this, what would you recommend for them?
Ooh, I thought about this actually because I thought I might get asked it. And honestly, an unpopular opinion, but one that might save you thousands of dollars in the long run is you don't necessarily need higher degrees or degrees, period. If what you want to do is something like excavation and everything like that, an actually really good way to get into archaeology is volunteering for excavations, which I didn't really know going into it because I lived in Oregon and it's a lot of not a lot of excavation, but a lot of like shovel test pit kind of stuff because it's cultural resource management, which is not exactly the same. So I think really figuring out what you want to do with archaeology first, because there's a lot of ways to get into it and to be taken seriously and to be credible without necessarily having a degree. Of course, if you want to teach, unfortunately, you're going to need all the degrees. But um, yeah, like don't be afraid to get out there and get in and on dig because they're always they always love to have people who want to learn and who are excited. Um, I worked with a lot of people who weren't even archaeology majors, and but they were so curious and they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They were respectful, and it's just a great time. So go out and get your hands dirty, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of like the joy of archaeology is you will get dirty at some point and kind of you hate it at first, but then you kind of love it after that.
Yeah, you love being miserable. It's great.
Yeah, it's every time, somebody asks me what it's like being an archaeologist, I think of that meme book cover. It says the desire to be an archaeologist and other diseases of the brain.
Never seen that one?
And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's accurate. Like that's harshly accurate, but I like it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's great. Yeah.
yeah. Well, Emily, it has been a great pleasure having you on the first episode of 2026. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it here for today. Stay tuned for more.